sync.
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, people may knock because I can't find my sign, just so you know. Okay, we are gonna get started. I'm a little out of breath. I was running a little bit behind, so it'll catch up with me in a minute. Good thing I work at a very fast pace. So today we are doing all sorts of things. One of the things we're doing is coconut crusted chicken fingers, or I'm just gonna call them adult chicken nuggets, because we took them right out of the freezer the other day. I had frozen my leftovers last week and heated them up in the oven, and it was awesome. So I think in the future I will make a bunch of these at once and then have them ready for us at all times. We are going to be making, and for those of you who have been following me from the beginning, we're going to be making our Luscious lemon roll. So this is one of my favorite desserts in the summer. I don't really make it a lot in the winter, and so since it's starting to get sunny out, sort of, I'm starting to get a little bit of that spring flavor. So I thought it would be a fun dessert. And another salad, our cauliflower broccoli salad, is the other one that we're going to make. And has anybody in here, have you had that one? Okay. So really quick, before I forget, I always know who watched my video and who didn't, because I'll get messages of, where can I find the recipes? I'm like, they didn't even watch the first 2 minutes. So here's where you're going to find these recipes. The coconut crusted chicken and the honey mustard will be in the files sometime tonight. I'll finish typing it up afterwards. The Luscious lemon roll, along with the broccoli cauliflower salad, is in Make It Keto cookbook. So for people watching, if you have somebody that knows Wakaya Perfection and is an ambassador, they can get you one. Otherwise, private message me and I will get you one. But that's where those recipes are found. Did I cover it all? Yes. And it's the files on Living Our Keto Life recipes, not on my page, Living Our Keto Life. Oh, that's a lot. Okay, so what we want to do here first is start with our cake roll. And I have so many cake roll recipes, and it's kind of a basic standard on the bottom, but let me just show you what I did. So I've got 4 eggs in here. To that, I'm going to add some granulated sweetener. Not much, just a little, because our keto fuel is already sweetened. And then we're going to add some baking powder, heavy whipping cream, and then I'm going to add 1 cup of our keto fuel, or else that's equivalent to 2 servings. So if you use the canister, it would be 1 cup measured out. Otherwise, it's 2 packets, which is 2 servings. Now, people always ask if they can substitute this for almond flour, like if you can use almond flour instead. You really cannot, because this has got sweet cream in it, whole egg powder. There's a lot of whole foods in here that adds a whole nother element. So all I'm going to do, you don't have to use a hand mixer at all. I'm just going to mix this up really good. I've got a regular jelly roll type size pan here that I am going to go ahead and put this in. And the jelly roll pan is just lined in parchment. I use parchment for everything if you ever notice my cooking, but just know for this recipe you absolutely have to use parchment paper. And you'll understand why when I take it out. Now, it's gonna seem like it's super thin on here, and it is, but it will puff up a little bit and you'll be fine. If you want your cake to be thicker, and you'll see, because I'll show you a finished product, but if you want your cake to be thicker, you are going to want to do a double batch of the cake. Just keep in mind that it will change your macros a little bit when you do that, okay? So if you know how to figure out macros, you're in business, and if you don't and you want to, there's a video. Okay, so this is gonna go in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. It doesn't take too long to bake. Okay, now, while that's baking, we are gonna start our chicken right here. So in this pan, I have some coconut oil that ironically is melted because we just did some on here. I'm gonna heat that up to medium heat. All we're gonna be doing is browning the chicken in there. So in this bowl here, I have coconut flour and shredded coconut, and I wanna show the people at home. It's not the finest shredded coconut, and it's not the really coarse. They call it medium shred, but I'm finding that depending on where you got it, medium shred can mean a variety of things. So this is the size that I prefer. So I'm going to take that coconut flour and coconut, mix them up in here. I have a whole slew of seasonings, which will be in the files section tonight, so you'll know exactly what that is. And I'm going to go ahead and toss this together. Now, chicken-wise, it says 1.5 pounds chicken. It's basically 3 chicken breasts, okay? So the chicken breasts that I bought today were a lot bigger, and I could get 6 slices out of each one. I tend to buy free-range chicken for my family, and those chicken breasts are smaller, so I usually can get 5. So I always say it serves 4, but it really depends. I mean, if you had really big chicken breast, you could get more servings out of it. Because remember, you don't want to go too crazy on your protein with keto, right? And so you're going to have to kind of be a good judge of that. Like, to me, if they were that big, I'd probably have 2. Okay? 2 is what you get tonight, by the way. So I'm just dipping them in an egg wash and then putting them right in here. It's not quite sizzly, so I'm going to turn the heat up here. And I have you guys in the oven. Most of them just witnessed me making them because that's what I was trying to finish up. And these will be for my family. Any questions so far? Anyone?
Straightforward so far.
Pretty straightforward for people that are comfortable in the kitchen. Sometimes I have some stuff pre-done and I'm like, I wonder if that makes it.
So I get why you're wearing the gloves today, but when you're making this, would you typically wear the gloves?
I wear gloves every time I'm in the kitchen, but that's because I have for 10 years. So I switch them, like when I'm done with the raw chicken, I'll throw some new ones on. But my hands are in water night and day with catering, and I run the kitchen. I run the kitchen of a substance abuse treatment center, and so food handlers is we get to do this. And so out of habit, I continue to do it, and I actually prefer it.
Well, in fact, I made something like this a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness, the gloves are an amazing idea.
Gloves and parchment paper are necessities for me in my life and in my kitchen. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to switch them because we're going to start another recipe and then I'll come back. So I will tell you, like, when we have something with a serious food allergy at work, we can go through a box of gloves and 1 lunch and dinner. Wow. That's how often we're switching them, but we just can't take that chance in the whole cross-contamination. So I'm just so used to putting these on that if I'm not wearing them, I was up at my sister's in Idaho and she didn't have gloves and I was like, I literally might die.
I'm ready to close the Costco.
Watch this, I don't even want to touch those tongs again because they probably have chicken and I don't want to have to change these really quick. So I'll let them go a little bit more. Okay, so here's the deal. We are going to go ahead and make the filling that's for our cake roll. And I am making a double batch because I have 1 cake roll that's ready to go and 1 in the oven, and I don't want to have to make more filling later. So just know everything I'm doing has already been doubled. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some cream cheese in here. And then to that cream cheese, I'm going to add granulated sweetener. Whatever your favorite one is, I have my own favorite blend that I use. Fresh lemon juice. You're going to have fresh lemons because you need lemon zest too. So sometimes I'm totally cool with using lemon juice that's in the fridge, but if you have lemon zest already, then just use the other lemons. And we're going to go ahead and cream this. And while this is mixing, I'm going to go back to the chicken. recipe that we're using. Okay, I'll show everybody. Oh, it is so cool. So I already measured out the whipped cream. So you're gonna want 4 cups of heavy whipping cream. That's 4 cups of whipped cream that's already sweetened and has your vanilla and everything in it. So I did that earlier so I could measure it so I wouldn't have to refill the other guy. And you don't want to mix this in. Like, I'm not trying to beat this in because I don't want the whipped cream to go flat. Okay, and now we're going to bounce back to the chicken. We'll be back to that. This is where I need my sous chef, and she's coming home from soccer practice soon. My husband went to grab her. As a side note, since you're going to be watching me here for a second, so she's on a club competitive soccer team, and her coach, he's not about giving them off for the holiday, for spring break. By the way, I wipe this out in between every batch because I don't want a burning flavor on there because coconut has heated up too much or whatnot. And I'm just going to add in a pretty good chunk there of coconut oil. But anyway, so my daughter's at soccer practice and she's like, come on, this is lame. We need someone to scrimmage against. So he's like, all right, everybody invite some people to come to practice tomorrow. She showed up with like 3 boys. I'm like, I don't know that your friends are going to appreciate that, but whatever. She doesn't care. This week she decided it was time to try out for cheer. I've never had a cheerleader. We've never even talked about cheerleading. And she's played soccer forever. She's like, hey, tomorrow are cheer tryouts, and I think I'm going to go. I was like, what? So we're like, okay, try out. Like, she's never had tumbling, to be honest with me, and she stinking made it. So now we got decisions to make.
That's pretty expensive.
Not only that, yeah, no, I have a lot of reasons, but the funny thing is, and I actually know a lot of cheerleaders and I love them, but I'm like, yeah, she wants to do both. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how that works into my life. But, no, it's not. Her soccer's year round for us.
Oh.
And cheer is August to October, so it's football season. It's definitely football season. That'd be cool if she was cheering for her brother's team.
Yeah.
2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, you guys, let me check the cake rolls. Everybody following me? Because I know I'm just bouncing so much.
I think so.
Rewatch the video if not. Or maybe just make 1 recipe at a time. And you know, for the mayonnaise and stuff like that, one of the reasons I did the video Saturday is so I could refer people to it, so it would be less than we did here. Let me just check our cake roll. So here is our cake. Let me show you what we're going to do to that. Okay, this is why you need parchment. I'm going to slide her out of here. And then flip it right off. And then you can roll it. And the trick with this, the thing you want to remember, is to let it cool completely and cool it on a cooling rack so it doesn't sweat on the bottom. Okay? This is so perfect. By the time we get to dessert, I'm going to be all done. I feel like these are good enough. Don't you think that's good
Yeah,
enough?
those look good.
Good enough. Because I really got to stop jumping around. It's making me crazy. One more. Okay. Yay, okay. Okay, while I'm getting this ready, there is a strawberry glaze that goes on this cake roll. I've made it many times in the recipes in Make It Keto. I'm just going to tell you what I did because I needed it cooled ahead of time. I just blended up strawberries, took the green up, blended them up into a puree. Then I basically boiled them on the stove with sweetener. And there's a measurement of sweetener in there, but you need to taste it because strawberries come at all different sweetnesses. So start out small and build up if you need it sweeter. You want it to be a little bit tart because it's a sweet filling. And then I add a splash of lemon juice just to keep the color vibrant and everything good. So I like that because I'll use that even as like a fruit syrup if I make pancakes or something like that. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this cake roll that's already it's cooled, and unroll it, open it back up. If yours cracks, don't worry about it because the cracks don't matter. Somewhere, I have a spreader out here, I know I did. Oh, I washed it. Okay, so I'm gonna add about 1/4 cup of this sauce. Okay, and that's going to get spread around here before everything else. Now, one of the reasons I love using the keto fuel, and I like almond flour, you know I have a ton of recipes that use the almond flour, but one thing I really like is I found when I was at a pretty good plateau, I was maintaining great. Like I know what it takes to maintain my weight, and I know, you know, for therapeutic health reasons for ketosis, I know what that takes. But I found I had plateaued and I was having way too much protein. And so I've gone back to my keto fuel for a lot of my desserts that I do for the mere fact of it's like so low carb versus using my almond flour. So I still use my almond flour, but I have been making a lot of my cake rolls lately. So I'm gonna add about half of this cream mixture in here. Probably good. And spread it all the way to the edge. Sheesh. Hey, feel free to tell her to be quiet. She doesn't know that we're filming it here. Okay, so now we are going to take this, and you want to be gentle because you don't want to squish all your cream mixture out. We're going to gently roll this back up like so. And then if I'm going to be using it that night, I seriously will just wrap it in this and set it right in the fridge. When I make cake rolls, I typically make 2 to 3 at a time because you can freeze them, no problem. And they're set to go. We have chocolate raspberry rolls, we have chocolate mint, chocolate peanut butter, all sorts of different rolls. So that's all we do. It's super easy, but that's a good one to watch done if you haven't done a cake roll before.
Are those other rolls in the...
A couple of them are in the cookbook, and then the peanut butter roll is in my files. Let me just totally, look at that, turned off the wrong oven.
Oh no.
That's okay. That actually saves me a little time. And I'm going to throw these in on the bottom shelf. Okay, that chicken's almost done. So what we want to do now is I'll show you kind of how we do this salad. And it's so easy. Cauliflower and broccoli, bite-sized pieces. And I just kind of estimate, you know, it says 1 head of cauliflower, but that can be anywhere from this size to this size. So just do the best you can. I'm going to add hard-boiled egg to that. Cooked bacon. Don't buy that bacon bit in the bag. Yuck. You should not eat bacon that doesn't have to be refrigerated. I have tomatoes that have been seeded so we don't have all the slime in there. Supposed to be a red onion of, guess what? I was out. So we're using yellow, which is really cool because you can use both. Okay. And then for the dressing for the salad, I have mayo. To that, I'm adding granulated sweetener. And then you can use rice vinegar or apple cider vinegar. I like apple cider. Rice vinegar sometimes has extra sweets in it too. So you want to watch the carbs if that's the one you choose. Mix that up for a second and let it sit for just a second so that that sugar, see, can you hear it?
Yeah.
we want that sugar crystallization to go away a little bit. So while that's going, let me show you how I make the honey mustard. So you can do it in a bowl with a spoon, it doesn't matter. I'm a gadget girl if you haven't figured that out yet. And honestly, there will be a recipe typed up with yours tonight, but just know I eyeball it every time I do it. So this is mayo. Even though it doesn't necessarily look like mayo, that's about a cup of mayo. It's darker yellow because of my egg yolks when I made it. But if you're a store-bought mayo person, use store-bought. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you. There's actually some really good ones out there you can use that aren't a problem.
Where did you find the powder?
I order it online when they have their sales. Has anybody been to Costco? Did they get the monk fruit in like they said they were going to
No, I
April
haven't
1st?
I've had it before.
They had it at the road show there, but now it's permanently.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I added like 2 heaping tablespoons. The monk fruit tends to be a little bit lumpier than like that's why I like to use an electric mixer. And on this one, it's so crazy. Like the first time I had it, I was like, okay, it's really kind of a trick of your mind because it totally tastes like honey mustard to me, and there's not 1 ounce of honey in it. But same thing, I'm gonna taste it as I go to make sure it's how I want it to be. Or does anybody else want to taste it?
Yes.
So
So
it needs
if
more sweetener, I can already tell you.
if the monk fruit is like prone to clumping, is there a reason why you chose to use it rather than this word for?
Just because that's what I have right now. Last week when I made it, I actually used this word. But if you don't have enough, it'll be kind of a bitter taste. Like that was not sweet enough for me.
It tastes a little bit like the Chick-fil-A sauce.
I'm gonna add a little bit more. But I'm a sweet tooth, so sorry if it's too sweet for you. Okay, and that's what we're gonna do, and it's awesome with your chicken dipped in it. And I bet you anything that chicken's done. So I'm gonna pull it out, and then we're gonna toss the salad. I'm gonna show you how we plate the dessert, and then you guys are good to go. Yeah, those look good. Okay. Okay, so we have our vegetables here. We're gonna add our sort of granulated still dressing. It'll be good though. And then I just toss this up. The nice thing about this is because it's raw broccoli and cauliflower, it's not gonna get soggy if you toss it ahead of time. Like we eat it for breakfast the next morning. We love this salad. Okay, so I'm gonna set this to the side, and then let me show you how we do our dessert. Really quick, I'm gonna wipe right here so we can do it right here. Now, when I first started keto, I used the whipped cream in a can a lot. And you're fine, you know, as far as keto goes, it's not really adding any fat to your recipe. It is adding a bunch of things that aren't necessarily recognizable if you read them on the can. But in a pinch, it's not the end of the world. It's not gonna throw you out of ketosis. Now I do a lot of stuff that's more homemade. And so tonight I do have, we're gonna use homemade whipped cream. So you could always make up a bowl and just keep it in the refrigerator. I bought a new gadget and I'm gonna show it to you. Let me just get our finished cake roll out. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. When I open my cake rolls, I just cut right down the middle. Now, if these refrigerate a little bit longer, it'll be a little bit firmer for you. I just made this a little while ago. Out of one of these, you can get 24 servings, and I'll just tell you right now, I'm going to tell you what the macros are, and you'll see why I love it so much. If I can find it. Oh my goodness. Okay, find the Luscious roll in there. Okay, so the best way I do it if I'm counting macros, which, you know, I don't get too crazy, is I'll cut it in half and in half and in half, you know, and try and get equal pieces. But you get about 24 pieces per. And this one, the cake roll, is really thin for some reason. I don't know why. It's not usually that thin, but I'm wondering if when I put my stuff in my bulk containers, I swap the baking powder and baking soda.
Oh.
I think I may have done that because these seem a little bit thinner than normal. But this is, I don't even, what's it called? I don't even know. It's my whipped
I
creamer.
can't remember what it's called.
In here, I just have sweetened whipping cream with vanilla, but it's not been whipped yet. This will store in my fridge for 2 weeks, which I love. So I have my cake roll on here. And then I'm going to do that. And then, you know, I like to garnish. It's the caterer in me. The funny thing is my football player likes to garnish too. He'll do this to his food before he eats it.
That's pretty cute.
It cracks me up. And that's your cake roll. So here, we found it. Okay, so per slice, this is minus, obviously if you have a whole strawberry, you probably need to add a little on, but it's 1.1 carbs and 10 grams of fat and 2.4 grams of protein, so that's awesome. It ends up being 86% fat, so it's basically a fat bomb in and of itself. So, any questions? Anyone?
It looked great.
Okay, well you're gonna get to eat it. Give me about 2 minutes. I'll get everything set out to eat. No questions on there? We're okay?
Just when you're gonna start delivering.
I wonder that with me. Actually, I just had this conversation with my husband Saturday because he had taken a nap. We had gotten up super early to go to a soccer game, and he came out, and I had made like chocolate chip cookies and something else, and I said, I wonder like what it's like to be in your world. To wake up from a nap and come out and have chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
I'm like, I want to experience that world. Who's making them for me? Anyway, okay.
Yes.
But we are going to say goodbye to the people on there.